told you on Friday. I think I said it last Wednesday. I might have even said it last Monday. Wild division games can freak me out a little bit. See Phillies, Mets. There's something significantly different about this Eagles team. Now, I compared that as like a 1-for-1, but then I had the caveat. There's a winning DNA with this team that, in fairness, you can be upset about it, I don't think the Phillies have possessed. Washington is a good team. Jayden Daniels is a really good rookie quarterback. They have some weapons on that team. Everybody still loves Zach Ertz. Terry McLaurin, I said, was going to pop them at least one time, find the end zone. Like, they're a good team, and they should be really proud. And this isn't like a condescending, like, oh, you should really be so proud of yourself. Good job there, little fella. They should be proud. It was a hell of a run. They took out the number 1 seed Detroit Lions in Detroit. Like, they're a good team, and Jayden Daniels is a really good quarterback. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a division rivalry in the NFC East, it's those two teams. The Giants are nowhere close. The Cowboys are an absolute mess. It'll probably be Eagles Commanders again next year, fighting for that NFC East crown. And again, good on them. Legitimately good on the Commanders for getting the job done, at least to get to the NFC Championship. But eventually, when you get to that moment, and when you get to that final step with the opportunity to punch your ticket to the Super Bowl, the Eagles punched it into the end zone 7 times on the ground. And if you were one of these people, and you remember, I've been pretty clear about like where I stand on Jalen Hurts. If you were looking for a game to feel any better about Jalen Hurts, he delivered it on Sunday. 20 of 28 for 246 yards and a touchdown. He made big throws in key moments. Devontae Smith had that beautiful reception on the sideline where he's already kind of digging the Tootsie Toes in as he's pulling it in. You get A.J. Brown on that beautiful 4th down. 4th and 5 is 14-12 in the first half. Very close. Commanders making you feel just a little bit uneasy. And Jalen Hurts unleashes a dart down the left sideline to A.J. Brown, who picks up big yardage on a 4th and 5. It is a ballsy call. It is a gutsy call. It is certainly one that would have received plenty of criticism if they had gone on to lose that game. But they didn't. And sometimes those big ballsy moments are the things that ultimately give you the momentum and give you the ability to put up what is eventually a lopsided final score. I don't think anybody who watched that game felt like, oh yeah, that was definitely a 32-point win. I don't think so. I mean, this isn't to Chris Sims it like last week when he said, oh, if you take out the turnovers and you take out the Saquon Barkley runs and the one by Jalen Hurts, the Rams won most of the plays in that game. It's not that. It's not Micah Parsons saying, well, if you took the scoreboard out of it, we played a pretty tight game. Not that. It's not that either. This is a situation where, like, the score did get out of hand, but I think for the most part, we all kind of still felt not agita. It wasn't the same kind of uneasiness that we had against the Rams, especially late in that Rams game. But there were moments in this game where you're like, don't let the young stud quarterback hang around. Don't let this Commanders team that you've now played twice this season, you're in the midst of the third game. Don't let that team back in the game. And my big thing, and I've said it to you guys for a while, and it's very basic. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not giving you insight that you don't already know, but it's the thing that I've said consistently, and it's one of those things that takes a good team and makes them a great team, and it makes a great team a Super Bowl winning team. Forcing turnovers is huge. This defense has gotten significantly better at it as the regular season wound down and we've gotten into the postseason. They are an opportunistic bunch. They force multiple fumbles again. Quinyon Mitchell skies up, pulls down his second career interception, both of which have come in the postseason. How's that for a rookie? Not so bad. They force the turnovers, and the thing that takes you from being, in my mind, not just a Super Bowl contending team, but what in many minds will be a Super Bowl favorite, is capitalizing on those turnovers and scoring points. And the Eagles did that. The Eagles did that significantly and wonderfully on Sunday, finding the end zone multiple times after the defense forced a turnover. Sensational stuff. There aren't a lot of negatives to take away from this game. The only negative maybe is you think on the injury front, Cam Jurgens was active, didn't start. Landon Dickerson took his spot. There were a couple of timing issues, no big deal. Dickerson ends up with a knee brace, ends up kind of limping around a bit. That would be a massive loss. Good news, you have 2 weeks to try to get him healthy, to try to hopefully get Cam Jurgens back fixed or at least workable. Those guys are warriors. That's the only real negative you could take away is just, all right, or it's not even a negative. It's just like the only uneasiness that you really take coming out of that game is, will the offensive line be able to hold up? They've been very lucky that they've remained mostly healthy, that the guys who've come in to fill in different spells have played very well. They got good play out of Steen. They got good play out of Dickerson at center. Cam Jurgens comes in, kind of battles the whole game. Looked like he wanted to get in that game the entire time. Eventually does get in there. He said post-game that it all just comes down to fighting for one another. It's a close locker room, and that's what it's all about. You want to get out there and battle for the people that you're going to war with every week. Now, I know there are a ton of comments. I'm going to get to as many of them as I can. This is not, by any means, a plug for anybody to do this, because you don't have to. But probably from now until the Super Bowl, I expect there will be many people in the comments. I will try to get to as many of these as I can. Super chats are now available on the Russ Joy Show, which you do not have to do. But if you feel so inclined to essentially help with the operating expense of the show, which is putting the show out there, that's about it. There aren't that many other expenses. I absorb the cost of everything else. But if you want to support the show, super chat, help a guy out, but you don't have to. But if you do, I'll pull your comment up for sure. I'll get to it priority. Otherwise, I'm going to get to as many of these as I can. I have some other takeaways, some other insight from the game. But I have to tell you, this was a game that you should feel unbelievably confident. Saquon Barkley, the first touch of the game, first touch. He blows open a massive touchdown, breaks multiple tackles, has a beautiful little pirouette on the sideline to get himself back centrally and win a foot race. And you kind of bookend that with the end of the game where Will Shipley almost breaks open a massive touchdown run. I mean, it's still a significant pickup. But like Will Shipley almost bookends the game perfectly. Huge touchdown run to start, huge touchdown run to end. He ends up finding the end zone. Good on him. Kenny Pickett gets some snaps. I was wondering if at some point Eagles fans were going to start doing the skull, because it did kind of start to feel like the blowout that happened against Minnesota en route to a Super Bowl win.